Yo, welcome back to the Burnell Washburn podcast, episode number 8. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hope you're having an incredible day. Sending you love and good vibes wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us. Before we get started today, I have a really inspiring episode that's I'm just super stoked to record today. And just wanted to say thank you guys so much for sharing this out, for screenshotting and putting on your IG story, for leaving those 5-star reviews. You guys are so dope. This podcast keeps just blowing my mind every time I check the numbers. I'm like, what? How are all these people listening? And then I'm starting to notice a lot of people are DMing me on Instagram saying, I'm so happy I found your podcast. I'm just so grateful for the content you're putting out. My life has legitimately got so much better since I started following you and listening to you. And I'm like, damn, that was the dream. So I'm convinced it must be because you guys are sharing it and telling people about it, because I haven't placed any ads or done anything to really promote this in a professional way yet. So thank you, whatever you're doing. Please keep doing it. Please keep screenshotting. If you haven't left a review, make sure to do that, because that helps grow the tribe and empower and uplift more people, which is the whole reason I'm doing this podcast. I am just lit up from deep within on inspiring others, uplifting others, sharing tools, techniques, habits, strategies, mindsets, perspective shifts, anything that I can do to help make your life doper and help you live a happier, more fulfilled life. That is what I'm all about. So that's why I want to grow the tribe in the first place, because the more people I can do that for, the better. And I'm just super grateful that you're investing your time to listen, because like Jim Rohn always started out his speeches saying, thanks for paying however much it was for the ticket, but more importantly, thanks for paying attention and thanks for giving your time, because you can always get more money, but you can't get your time back. Which is one of the cool things about podcasts, is you can just do whatever you want. You can be cleaning your house, doing laundry, driving to work, whatever, on a walk, and you're listening and absorbing all this beautiful wisdom and information and stuff from people through audio form. So that's why I like podcasts, because you can kind of passively listen. But I want to humbly request that you'll do just a little more than passively listen on my podcast, because I think I'm going to be sharing things that are going to change your life if you actually apply them. The key is you actually have to go do the stuff that I'm talking about. You actually have to give it a try. So I highly encourage, if anything ever resonates with you while you're listening, take notes, tell someone about it, write it down, take immediate action, whatever you need to do to start implementing these things, so they're not just in one ear out the other. Like for me, I heard about the benefits of meditation for 5 years from all sorts of people I looked up to before I actually went and did it. You know what I mean? So I hope you'll actually go and do all this stuff that we're talking about. Anyway, the reason I am just so inspired to be speaking with you today is because last week was really hard. I kind of had a breakdown, and just went through an emotional few days where just things were not really going too well for me, and wasn't on the right vibe particularly. But I've switched that around, and I'm understanding why that was such a blessing now. So I want to talk about that a little bit, and because I'm just feeling as high vibe as they come today. I feel so amazing. And hold on, I'm grabbing my notes here. I actually wrote down for the first time. Every single episode so far has been freestyled off the dome, but today I wrote down 4 notes, a total of 4 sentences, which were just kind of designed to keep me on topic instead of rambling about random shit like I tend to do. But I learned so much from having a breakdown. So we're going to talk about that. Sometimes we need the breakdowns to have the breakthroughs. We're going to talk about how emotions are just indicators for what we're attracting. We're going to talk about just doing what's in our power, and how the universe will actually meet us halfway when we do what we can. We're going to talk about milking the magic, or celebrating the wins, kind of like I talked about on one of the previous episodes. Might have even been the last episode, to be honest. I can't remember, but we're going to touch back on that because it's such an important subject, and I'm going to expand on that a little. And then I'm going to tell you a little story today that just happened this morning that put me on such a beautiful frequency, and why none of us should ever underestimate the power of like just the smallest things. So thank you for joining me. Let's get into today. I guess we're already into today's episode, but let's get deeper into today's episode. Last week I had a breakdown. Basically, I'm not going to spend too much energy on it because I'm past it. But I was slipping into lower patterns a little bit. I just didn't feel like doing any of the high frequency habits and routines that I normally do, like cold showers and working out. And I slipped off on my diet a little bit, was just eating a little bit more than I needed to eat, a little bit of processed food, a little bit of things that weren't just conducive to the person that I want to be. And then I sort of hit a wall. I hit like just complete burnout stage. So that was one of the things I wanted to talk about, is just like we can't all be Superman or Superwoman all the time, and we need to stop trying to burn the candle at both ends all the time. So I really advise you to take a break before you get tired. Like if you're working out, rather than maxing out 110% of your possible human capabilities to where you're just so sore the next few days, you can't work out for 3 days after that. It's better over time, if you do the math, to do like 70 or 80% of your capability rather than completely maxing out. And I'm all about giving it your all. Don't get it twisted with giving it your all, but it's like you give it your all to a certain point and then there's still a little bit of gas in the tank. And you say, you know what, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to give myself a rest so I can come back even harder tomorrow. Because like doing 70% of your capacity 6 days a week is a lot better than doing 100% of your capacity 3 days a week. You know what I mean? I don't know if the math adds up on that. But anyway, you know what I mean. You understand my point. I did the math at one point and I was like, yes, this for sure makes sense from a mathematical perspective too. But just in general in life, we try to just keep going and going. And when I'm feeling really inspired and motivated and driven, I just want to conquer the world from like sunrise to bedtime. And I sometimes just exert myself too much. And then the universe has to give me these like breakdowns, or like I get sick, or I get exhausted, or I have like a really bad day, or just something happens that just like forces me to rest. So my point is, just rest before you get forced to. Take a little time off to recover and recuperate and reset yourself really daily if you can. So that was one of the things that I learned from the breakdown. And I don't even know what caused the breakdown. It was kind of like wasn't sleeping well. I was probably deficient on a handful of vitamins and nutrients. Needed to switch up my diet a little bit and get a few, get that ashwagandha powder back in, because my cortisol levels were through the roof and I hadn't been drinking ashwagandha every day like I was. And just a couple things slip off, and then it's like it slips off 1% here, 2% there, 3% there, and the next thing you know, you're like 40% off track of where you've been. All of a sudden I found myself needing to rest more, so then I'm watching Netflix more, and then I'm watching stuff that doesn't really inspire me or uplift me as much as it could. And don't get me wrong, I love movies, I like watching TV shows and stuff, but I feel on a higher vibe when I'm doing the self-development stuff and like doing the high vibe shit and meditating a lot more. And then when I do go watch a movie, like seldomly, every once in a while, it feels that much better. So long story short, I spent a few days on a lower frequency where I was kind of getting angry, sad, a little lonely, feeling a little depressed, feeling unsatisfied with my life, feeling like I didn't like the place I'm living, and I don't like my clothes, and I don't like the food I have, and like just feeling off, like no serotonin and dopamine and all that shit working in my favor. And then like one of my biggest mentors, Jay Shetty, has an amazing podcast called On Purpose with Jay Shetty. Highly recommend checking it out. But he's a much wiser man than me. He's one of the guys I look up to, so I learn a lot from him. But he talks about that we have a way we feel, and then we have a way we feel about the way we feel. So I'm feeling angry, but then I'm feeling guilty for feeling angry, if that makes sense. So sometimes like it's a trip, but we have to just observe like how do I feel, but then how do I feel about how I feel? It's one thing to be angry or sad, but then how are you feeling about the sadness? Are you feeling like you shouldn't be feeling that, and so you're resisting it and you're actually making it worse? I feel like we often do that. At least I often do that, where it's like I forget that I'm, a human being, and I think I gotta be on this high vibe all the time. And when I have an off day or off moments, like I know I'm not creating the life of my dreams, and I know I'm actually attracting and allowing and creating what I don't want. So then I feel all mad at myself for feeling like that, and then I'm feeling guilty about feeling like that, and then I'm feeling shitty about feeling guilty, and it's this negative, vicious cycle. So that's why meditation is so important, because we can learn to become the observer of our thoughts rather than being controlled by our thoughts. So I'm looking at my thoughts and seeing, oh, that's a silly thought, and that's silly that you feel that way about that thought, okay. But I'm not my thoughts. Another great Jay Shetty quote, he's like, I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am, if that makes sense. So let me say that again. I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. So if I think that you guys are sitting here thinking Burnell Washburn is a badass, I'm like, I feel like a badass. And in that moment, I'm a badass. If I'm sitting there thinking, oh man, everyone thinks Burnell Washburn's a failure and they think Burnell's just crazy, then at that moment I'm crazy or I'm a failure. So it's all about, like really monitoring our thoughts and just becoming aware of all these things and just seeing that we are not the mind. It's not our mind, it's the mind, and it's not even us. It's just this collective consciousness that we can tap into, and 99% of our thoughts are just borrowed from someone else, and they're just repeated from past patterns and cycles. I just said a lot of P's right there. Past patterns, and it makes my microphone pop. I need to get a pop filter so it doesn't pop when I say the P words. But anyway, I was listening to Jay Shetty, and I had a lot of breakthroughs about this, and he was one of the dudes that helped me kind of get out of a bad mood and switch my vibe around, and then a lot of meditation and inner work, of course. So I started analyzing these thoughts and just kind of realized, oh, these are just old programming because I'm growing, and this is a reflection of what I'm currently attracting and creating. And I know that, and that's part of the reason I was upset about that. And that's part of the reason I got angry and I got sad and I got irritable and stuff. But then the worst part is I did that in front of my daughter, so then I felt really guilty about that, because it's been years since I've gotten angry in front of her, and I felt so bad about it because she's so sweet, and I know that can be traumatic and toxic for her to be around, but I'm only human, so I have to forgive myself and be like, it's okay, She's forgiven me, so I don't need to beat myself up over the fact that I got angry in front of her. I didn't get angry to her or anything, thank God, but I was just having a little bit of a panic attack breakdown in front of her that she was witnessing, and I didn't feel good about it. And then when she went to her mom's house, I was feeling all guilty and sad about it, like I'm the worst dad ever. And then I listened to Jay Shetty, and I was like, oh, there's a way you feel about the way you feel. And I'm like, damn, I feel guilty about feeling angry. And long story short, all I needed to do was reconnect to my heart space and remember what a beautiful, divine, blessed being I am. And that's obviously easier said than done, especially when you're feeling down. But I saged my whole house, I reorganized all the furniture, refeng shuied it, got rid of all the stagnant energy, took 2 days off from working out to let my body fully recover, slept as much as I needed to, just cleaned my house, reorganized, decluttered, got into some deep meditations again, reconnected with my heart space, and just started like shifting my whole frequency. And as soon as I shifted my frequency, oh, and another thing, a big part of like the reason I got all stressed out is because I had some unexpected expenses come up that immediately like put me into a fight or flight fearful state of scarcity and just worry and lack and limitation and all these things that feel shitty because they're not true. You notice good feelings feel good because they're the truth. You know what I mean? We're unlimited beings, so when we feel like limited, that's us, trying to believe in something that's not true, and that's why it feels shitty. But anyway, I was way stressed about money, put me onto a bad frequency, among other things, which made me fearful and start to look at all the areas of my life that were wrong and all the things that I was lacking, and all my worries and stresses came up like crazy. And as soon as I transcended that, tapped back into my heart space and said, what can I do right now? Worrying isn't going to help me. Stressing out isn't going to help me. Doing any of these bad habits like I've been doing the last few days to avoid this stress isn't going to help me. It just makes it way worse. Like when I'm overwhelmed and frustrated, it's like I just want to overeat. I just want to like watch TV. I just want to like not do all the things, and then I'll beat myself up by like working out too much or something because I feel like I've been overeating. You know what I mean? It's just this weird, vicious, dumb cycle that I'm sure some of you guys can relate to in your own ways. And I just like realize, okay, that's not helping. It's making it worse. Being worried about this isn't going to help either. What can I do? What is in my power right now to switch my life around? I'm going to do all of that. And as soon as I did that, I switched my frequency from like being a victim to like being more of like empowered and being in my divine masculine and my divine feminine of just like, what can I do? I'm in the power here. And as soon as I did that, my frequency switched, and boom, I get an unexpected gift from one of my amazing fans / friends who I think she listens to this podcast sometimes too. So thank you if you're listening. That was like, holy shit, it came at such a blessed time. So I get an unexpected money gift. And then all of a sudden I sell a couple beats, and that just switches my frequency. Oh yeah, I got beats online for sale because I hadn't sold any in a few weeks, and I was starting to feel like down about that and feeling like my business wasn't working out too well. And then like, I just one thing after another starts getting better and better. My frequency starts shifting, and I just get way stoked. And like, I did what I talked about on the previous episode, which was like being on a winning streak and kind of milking the magic, where like I got a free bus ride. I made that mean like everything to me. I was on my way to the Apple store to try to figure out my laptop situation because that went out on me, and that was one of the big things that was stressing me out so bad. Because that's like my workhorse, like everything. That's how I make all my money is from my laptop, and it's also how I do all my passions and my art and everything I really fucking love. So that also had me panicking. Like it was just such a bad time for it to go out. I mean, there's never a good time for it to go out, but it was part of like my whole breakdown thing. So I was on the way. I decided, okay, I can go to the Apple store and figure this out rather than being at home stressed about it. And then I get a free bus ride. I get on the bus and he's like, it's free fare day today. And I was like, what? Oh my God, I'm on a winning streak. I'm killing it. I'm so abundant. I'm so blessed. And I just made that mean the world to me. I got so excited about a free bus ride. It's only $2.50. I had the cash in my pocket to pay for it, as I was expecting to pay for it. But that was one of the things I really wanted to talk about on today's episode again. When we just get really excited and really grateful over the littlest things, it puts us on such a beautiful frequency. It's one of the most powerful ways to shift our vibration around, is just be grateful beyond belief, be extra excited and ultra exaggeratedly enthusiastic about how amazing your life is. Like, take a sip of coffee and just be like, this is the best sip of coffee I've ever had in my entire life, and just exaggerate it in your mind, because then it starts to put you on the frequency where you're producing the right chemicals And you're shifting your brain to start focusing on the good things in life, start noticing opportunities rather than problems. You start to notice things that you can love rather than things that you're fearful of. You start to notice ways that you can give and contribute rather than ways that you lack. So I just wanted to remind you of just how powerful that energy is. I know I talked about it on a previous episode, but it's so important. Like, I have a YouTube episode called Milking the Magic, where it's just like, in the morning someone holds the door open for you and you just get so ecstatic about it. Like, someone opened the door for me. Holy shit, the universe loves me. Then your brain, your reticular activating system, the RAS, is the part of your brain that's filtering out what you pay attention to or not. So your reticular activating system is going to start to notice more wins and more blessings the more you program it to do that. It's like you wake up in the morning and you stub your toe and then you get angry and then you spill your cereal everywhere, and like you start programming your brain to just focus on all the things that are shitty in life, and you attract more evidence of whatever you're looking for. Because our brain is complex, and it's like there's so many millions of bits of information happening at any given second. We can't possibly focus on all of that at once. So the RAS is actually an important mechanism that enables us to filter out what's really relevant or not. And it can go either way. It can work for us or against us on any given moment. So the more we program it to focus on what's good, the more we'll find evidence of blessings on blessings and magic and beautiful things happening in life. It's why they say, what gratitude is the great multiplier, or whatever you focus on expands, or all these law of attraction techniques that we've heard. They're all scientifically explained through the reticular activating system. Literally just this morning, my day started out so amazing because I was already on a good vibe. I jumped out of bed and said, I'm so blessed. Why am I so blessed? Why is my life so amazing? Today's gonna be the best day of my life. I feel so good. I look amazing. I feel amazing. I'm in beast mode. I love my life. I'm so blessed. Thank you, God. Thank you for this amazing day. Fuck yes. Did my morning incantations like I always do, like we talked about on the morning routine episode. If you haven't checked that one out yet, I highly recommend. It's a really valuable episode. But anyway, I was on this high vibe, left my house to go. I just got inspired. That's why you should always follow your inspirations. I was like, I'm going to go skate to this place today to put a nice note on someone's car. I got in the bad habit, I got in the habit of doing that every single day. And then I was doing it even when I wasn't feeling inspired, and after a while, I was like, I'm not even enjoying this sometime, and it's almost like defeating the purpose, and it's not even the best frequency that I'm on. I'm doing it because I feel like it's a chore that I have to do rather than like this beautiful, fun thing that I'm inspired to gift the universe with my empowering words and like just go bless a stranger and make a stranger's day. So the funny thing is, I'm inspired to go make a stranger's day, genuinely, rather than just like doing it because it's part of my routine. I'm doing it because I'm inspired. And I'm just skating down the road, like powerfully, saying incantations while I skate, trying to embody the highest version of myself by my posture, by my breathing, by how I'm skating and what I'm thinking and saying and feeling and emitting on this high frequency. And then this truck pulls over next to me, and I was so in my own zone and I just wasn't expecting it. He like has his window down and waves at me, and I just like wave at him and skate past, not thinking anything of it. And then he pulls up even further and pulls up next to me again. And then I'm like, oh shit, he's trying to get my attention. Oh fuck, alright. So I go skate over to his window, and this is like a super successful looking dude driving like a nice ass brand new truck. And he's like, hey man, you need a ride? And I was like, oh, I'm good, brother. And he misheard me, so he thought I said I needed one. So he's like, hop in. And I was like, oh no, man. I'm actually just going on like a little morning skate to get my blood flowing. Like, I don't even need a ride anywhere. I really appreciate that, though. Like, that is so cool of you. Like, so I went to go give him daps, and I noticed, like, this is a badass looking dude. Looked like he was in amazing shape. Looked like a bit older. Might have had some gray hair. But, like, very youthful looking at the same time. He had such a beautiful, bright, positive energy to him. And he was such a G, and I was just, like, feeling such good vibes from him. And I was just so grateful. This dude just stopped out of nowhere to offer a complete stranger, a ride. And I have a feeling this dude probably would have given me a ride like anywhere I needed to go. Maybe he's like me and he just wanted to serve strangers and help people. Maybe he was just randomly inspired and just saw me skating and was like, oh, I'm gonna give that dude a ride. Or maybe he's driven past me a bunch of times and always thought that. I don't know. Either way, it had me glowing ear to ear. Like, I almost cried. I was so grateful. And, like, people have offered me rides before. And depending on the frequency, you might almost feel, like, egotistical or disrespected or, like, I don't know. Like, you could feel a number of different emotions when a stranger offers you a ride. But I felt so grateful. Like, my day was made. I literally was like, this is the best day of my life. My whole entire month, my whole entire year is just made. Which is funny because I've done some dope shit this year. I've dropped an album that sold out. I went to Hawaii. I launched this podcast. I fucking traveled all over. I had like the best month in beat sales I've ever had. Like, and yet the thing that made my whole year so far was a stranger offering me a ride. I was so ecstatic, and this was partially like knowing, okay, I can milk this, because in the past when I've gotten really excited about small things like this, even bigger, better things happen. So I know that. But also it was just really genuine. Like, I was really just so happy and so grateful. Like, I almost forgot that, like, strangers cared about me and that this world is a kind, loving place. And, like, I think it's Albert Einstein says, maybe it's totally not, but some famous, dead, rich, awesome dude once said, the most important decision that we can make is whether we live in a friendly or a hostile universe. And that's so important, like, because whatever you are focusing on, like I said, is what you're going to see evidence of. So I was just, like, reminded, like, this world is so beautiful and it's just filled with good people that want to do amazing things. Fuck yes. All I want to do is go help more people do that. All I want to go do is give and serve now. I want to live in the highest, most vibrant, best version of myself possible today. And I just got so inspired to just crush the day just because of this one guy in the morning before I've even had my first cup of coffee offering me a ride. And I didn't even need a ride. But the fact that he offered just blew my mind. I did my barefoot grounding and my EFT tapping and my incantations with the biggest smile you've ever seen. I didn't even skate home. I practically skipped home while skateboarding, if that makes sense. Like, joy was oozing out of every cell. So then I sat down and I had the best gratitude and affirmations and journaling, scripting practice that I've had in a long time. My coffee just tasted like there was fucking rainbows and unicorns in it or something. Like, it was best coffee of my life. And it was like, I knew what was going on because I've studied the brain a lot. I'm like, oh, I just flooded my entire nervous system and body with all these happy chemicals, the norepinephrine, the dopamine, the serotonin, all that shit. Because I got so grateful, and gratitude just is like, turns on all these receptors and hormones and everything. And I just got excited and happy, and I milked it and just kept building on it. So this one little act of kindness made this huge impact on me. I went off and, like, donated some money and helped some people and spread some love and just, like, operated as a better version of myself as a direct impact or a direct result from this guy's positive impact that he had on me. And now I'm sharing it with you. Sharing that inspiration, and maybe you'll feel inspired and you'll go do something that impacts someone else. So it's like infinite ripples of goodness from one small deed. So I urge you strongly Do not underestimate the power of your words, of your smiles, of your kindness, of your compliments. The smallest act of service, the smallest act of compassion or kindness can just mean the world to someone. You know, who knows if maybe I was feeling really low and ready to kill myself that day and someone offered me a ride and it just switched my perspective around and reminded me that there's good people in the world and the world does care about me and the world does want to help me out, and it's not just oh, poor me, and the world doesn't give a fuck if I suffer and it's just all on me to, have the weight of the world on my shoulders. You know what I'm saying? I think you get my point. The smallest little act of anything could just change someone's life and really switch their vibe around. So don't ever hold back when you feel inspired. If you see someone on the side of the road and you have this urge to pick them up, do it. Offer it to them. They might not even need a ride. Just offer it anyway. Give your compliments and your kindness and your love freely and fully, because it's infinite. It always comes back multiplied. You cannot possibly give out too much love. You cannot possibly be too kind and run out of kindness. You can overextend yourself, of course. You can over-obligate and say yes to too many things and whatever. We've all done that, but you understand what I'm saying. Give your kindness and your love freely to the world, because you never know how much of a difference it can make. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I'm pulling out my notes like a professional podcaster here, is emotions are just indicators of what we're currently attracting. That's what's the beautiful part about emotions. Emotions show us that, hey, this is what you are creating in your life. If you're feeling bad, you're creating stuff that you're not going to like. If you're feeling good, you're creating stuff that you are going to like. And again, this doesn't mean you feel bad about feeling bad. If you're feeling bad, just embrace it and say, I feel bad, this sucks, but I don't want to feel like this. I'm going to switch it as soon as I can and make the effort to switch that frequency around, because you know you want to create something better. But don't beat yourself up for feeling bad. You know what I mean? That's normal. It's human. It's where the mind is crazy. So just look at your emotions as indicators and just, I'm feeling bad right now. Whoops, I must be creating and attracting things that I'm not going to like. So let me switch my vibe around and do what it takes. You might not be able to switch it around instantly. You might need to hit a punching bag or go running or exert it physically for a little bit first. You might need a few days to bounce back of self-care and eating healthy and resting. And that's another thing I really did to reset my kind of breakdown. Was all right, I recommitted myself to eating super healthy, because I was like, man, a lot of my bad tendencies and lower habits are coming because I'm feeling emotional, and then I'm overeating, and then I'm overworking out to try to compensate for that overeating, and then it's making me feel like shit, and then I'm burning out even more, and then I'm more stressed out, and then my body doesn't have a chance to heal itself and reproduce these hormones and chemicals. So I'm depleting myself, and then I'm feeling emotional again, and then I overeat again, and I do the same thing over and over again. And so it's a vicious cycle, but you can switch that cycle at any time. It's really just a choice. It's all right, sometimes you gotta hit rock bottom before you realize it's time to switch, but you don't always. Sometimes you realize, oh shit, I'm slipping off path. Whoops, let's switch, recommit myself to my good habits. Because I really do think junk food into your body equals junk thoughts in the mind, and junk energy to create with. And so it's not even about how you look or whatever. It's about how I feel on a spiritual level and how I feel on a creative level. That's why I eat healthy, and I remembered that, and it was okay. So I got back on the health grind. I did some fasting, did some cleansing, some detoxing, and just reset myself, got back on a good vibe. And as soon as I switched my emotions around, everything started working out for me again. All of a sudden, I had new inspired ideas of how I could use my power, how I could use the current resources that I have to create the life that I do want, rather than being stressed about money or whatever and sitting here overeating because I'm worried and freaked out about it and I don't know what to do. I have inspired thoughts of, I could do this. I could launch that business. I could make this offer to my email list, or oh, I can make this type of Facebook post and generate some money. And like I get on the right frequency and I'm on an abundant mindset rather than a scarcity fearful paradigm. And boom, I make all these sales, make all the money I need and then some. And it's just a frequency. Every time I switch my vibe around, whatever I'm worried about, like whatever, I have to stop worrying about it first. I have to make peace with the worst case scenario first in order to stop worrying about it. So if I am like way worried about something, I have to be like, okay, what's the worst case scenario that can happen? Okay, I end up on the streets and hungry and lose everything. Okay, can I survive that? Yes, I can. Will I probably get stronger from that if that is what happens? Yes, I will. Okay, I made peace with that and I'm willing to face that if that's what happens. And as soon as I make peace with the worst case scenario, I can step out of the worry. Then I can make the better choices. Then the inspired actions and ideas can hit me. Then I can take action on those inspired insights. And then I get the results I want. And then I have good emotions because I got a result I wanted. And then I take more good actions. And then I feel good about all the goodness I'm doing. And like I said, there's a way I feel about the way I feel. So I feel damn good about how damn good I've been feeling. And that motivates me to just keep on track and keep the inspired action up and keep the good habits and routines up. And man, I'm so grateful that I had like kind of a down week, off week last week. And it really wasn't like a completely off week. I still did lots of awesome shit, but like overall it was like one of the lowest vibe weeks I've had in a while, and it was such a blessing. And I knew it would be, but it was a little hard, and I knew this is going to cause me to make some profound positive shifts in my life that are going to help up-level me. Because if you don't take it upon yourself to do the up-leveling and the growing at the rate that you need to, the universe will just jump in there and do it for you. And it won't be as fun. So it's like, we can do this the easy way or we can do it the hard way. The easy way is you stay on the good habits, you do what you know is good for you, and you keep on your path. The hard way is you slip off path, you rebel against your own higher self, and the universe kind of smacks you back on path. It doesn't feel good, but it works both ways. So be grateful for the times. If you're having an off day or an off week or it's just not been your year, be grateful because you know major growth is coming. And everything that you want is on the other side of that major growth. So be grateful for the hardships, the challenges. We need the contrast. You know the old cliches, like a rainy day doesn't feel, or a sunny day wouldn't be special if it wasn't for the rain, and all those cliche quotes that I can never even remember properly. It's just so true. We need the contrast. We need the balance. We chose to be here on this plane of duality and contrast so we could grow. So we gotta not avoid our growth, we gotta not run from it, we gotta just embrace the highs and lows, and that's what makes life beautiful, and that's what helps us grow and get stronger. And man, I'm sitting here Monday, March 4th, I think, March 5th maybe, I don't know, and it feels great to be alive. I'm just happy, I'm inspired, I'm uplifted, I'm empowered, I'm just ready to crush it on all areas. I committed myself on March 1st, or actually on February 28th, I committed myself that March was just going to be a month of up-leveling, quantum up-leveling, self-care, and reprogramming. And that I was just going to stay on the high vibe like all month long, and I just committed to like having a great month, and I just made that choice. So I like, if you're, whatever time you're listening to this, make that choice for yourself. The next 30 days, you're just going to crush it. The next 30 days, you're going to do all the good habits. You're going to stay on point. You're going to do what you know is good for you. And you're going to feel so good, you're going to want to go 60 days, 90 days. Next thing you know, you had a good 5 years because you just felt so good about it and you kept up the momentum. And of course, we're all going to have our off times, but emotions are just indicators of what we're creating. And it's like, thank God we have these emotions, because otherwise, how would we even know what we're attracting in our life? If I didn't feel off sometimes, I wouldn't know that my behavior and my alignment is off, and so I'd probably end up in a life that was just not fulfilling. When I feel shitty for a little bit, it's like, oh, This is just the universe guiding me and showing me how I've slipped off path as a favor to me so I can get back on path. The universe is like, hey, you feel bad right now, and those bad feelings are a sign that you're just kind of doing the wrong things or thinking the wrong thoughts or, you know, resonating at the wrong frequency. And so it's your opportunity to switch that, and you can make the choice at any time. If our frequency really is a choice, and our frequency is the creator. Our frequency is the creative force of the universe that brings forth our reality. So, we don't get what we want in life, we get what we are. We get whatever frequency we're resonating at, that's what is going to match up. Whatever we're a vibrational match for is going to show up in our reality. It's happened over and over and over again in my life, so I don't need all these spiritual teachers to tell me, even though I listen to them every day as reminders. But it's just like, it's too real in my life to not accept that we are limitless beings living in an infinite reality on a physical plane, of course, but we're creating from fifth dimension and above, and it's manifesting physically on the third dimension, and we're able to really create any type of life we desire just based on how we feel. So do things that make you happy. Do things that make you feel good. Feeling good should be everybody's number one priority. And people get tripped up when you say stuff like that. You're like, I can't just feel good all the time. And like, yeah, of course, can't just feel good all the time, but you don't need to feel good all the time. You just need to feel good like the vast majority of the time, and that's pretty doable. And it's, like I said, it's not about suppressing emotions and pretending you don't feel them or bottling them up or anything like that, but it's like choosing to feel how you want to feel that's in harmony with the life that you want to live, and embodying the version of yourself that you'd like to be right now. How does the ideal version of yourself, I can't speak apparently for some reason today. Hold on, let me grab this blue calcite to get the throat chakra on point. There we go. Oh yes, now I can speak like a straight boss. How does the ideal version of yourself show up in the world? The Shane Company, on the corner of 7200 South and State Street. That's my Shane Company voice for all my Utahns. You already know what it is. Most of you probably are like, what the fuck is he talking about? Because a lot of my listeners are in like Australia and Germany and random places like that now. Anyway, how does the ideal version of yourself show up in the world? What does your highest self, the person that you'd really like to be, that would light you up and you would feel so happy to wake up as, how does that person talk? How does that person breathe? How does that person stand? How does that person dress? How does that version of yourself greet people when he or she meets someone? Ask yourself these questions. I highly, highly, highly recommend going on YouTube, finding higher self meditations or future self meditations, and I'm going to create some of my own because I can channel very well, and I think I could really change your life if I create some myself too, but there's amazing ones on YouTube already that you can check out. And you go and you do these meditations or these like visualizations where you meet your future self who is already living the life that you want to live, where anything's possible, and they're just like living in your dream house. They're with your dream partner. They're fully like just doing everything that you would love to be doing. And you connect with that version of yourself, and you merge with that version of yourself. You see what that frequency is like. You begin to understand that frequency and what it feels like to be that. And you just embody it more and more every day. So the more you do the meditations and visualizations like that, and just like seeking out that higher vibe and getting to know what it feels like, the more you embody it right now. The more you show up as that version of yourself in the present, and by nature of the universe, you attract that reality to you. So, obviously, it's like a simple analogy would be health. How does the ideal version of yourself who's like the healthiest, most fit version of yourself, eat. If you eat that way right now for the next 6 months or year, you're going to be that version of yourself pretty much. It's pretty simple to understand. But it's so much more than that, and like there's so many levels to it where you can just embody this ideal version of yourself right here, right now, in the present, and that can become your reality. It's called reality transurfing or quantum jumping or quantum leaps, whatever you want to call it. I just said call it like a New Yorker or something like that. It's like whatever you want to call it, baby. Embody that version of yourself right now. I can't recommend that enough. That's like the secret key to life. Big time for me right now. That's what I'm trying to do every day. When I step out of the bath or the shower, I'm like, how does the most badass version of Burnell stand? And how does the most badass, highest version of Burnell get dressed and dry himself off and brush his teeth? And like, I try to operate on the highest level. And like when I'm working out and I catch myself with like shitty posture or something, like I remember, oh yeah, how does like the highest self version of Burnell do this? Boom, I stand up straighter, I go harder, I have more energy, I'm more enthusiastic, I'm more loving, I'm more free, I'm more like abundant. Just so many things are at a higher level. And if I embody that right now and I continue to embody that, then that will be my destiny, 1000%. So go check out those meditations and start asking yourself every day, how does the ideal version of me show up in the world today? How does the best version of me do this? How does the best version of me do that? Keep asking yourself that. Step into that version. Own that shit, because that's you. That's the real you. That's the higher self you. That is you. That's who you're meant to be. So that's kind of all I really wanted to talk about today. Emotions are the indicators showing us what we're creating. So be thankful for our emotions. Use them to our advantage. Do what you can with what you have, and the universe will meet you halfway. Sitting here all stressed and worried is not going to help your situation. So ask yourself, what is in my power? First, make peace with the worst case scenario. Then ask yourself, what's in my power? What can I actually do about this right now? It's like the old serenity prayer from, I think it originated maybe from Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's like, God, grant me the serenity to change the things I cannot accept the things that I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Or something like that. I might have butchered it, as I often do with quotes. But when you ask yourself, what's in my power? What can I actually do something about right now? That's the right frequency to move forward, and then you go do it. And things will get better. Your frequency will begin to shift. You'll start to attract better things. And when you get those small wins, you just gotta milk them. You gotta be like, I'm on a winning streak. I'm killing it. I'm so blessed. Like, I literally thought I was the most blessed man in the universe this morning because a guy offered me a ride. And the rest of the day has just been glorious ever since then. Like, everything keeps working out. I just sold multiple beats. And, like, man, I just feel so good today. I had a high vibe lunch. I found a way to record this podcast even though my computer's broken. And, like, man, I've had such a blessed day so far where I've wanted to be the best version of myself and go inspire and uplift others and give back and serve at a higher level. Just because I milked the magic out of that small little moment. I exaggerated the positive feelings of it and used that to attract even more. Because the universe doesn't know the difference between like someone offered me a ride versus someone just gave me a brand new Tesla for free. The universe, there's in this infinite universe where planet Earth is just a tiny little speck. A tiny, tiny, tiny little speck inside of another tiny little speck. Like our galaxy is a tiny speck in the universe that's infinitely expanding. A Tesla is nothing to the universe. You know what I mean? It might seem like it's all, that's a nice expensive car to us because we're programmed and living in this paradigm, but like to the universe and to the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. The universe just speaks in frequency and vibration. So, vibration. I said that kind of weird. But yeah, when we're on the right vibe, we just attract more of the, like attracts like. We attract more of that same resonant frequency that's in harmony with whatever we're vibrating on. So no matter how big or small a blessing is, be grateful for it, exaggerate it, and bigger, better blessings will continue to keep coming. At any given time, we have the free will of choice to choose what we're focusing on. So we can focus on what we're grateful for. We can focus on who we can serve and who we can inspire and who can help. Or we can focus on all the reasons our life sucks. And either way, we're going to get evidence to support whatever we're focusing on. So do yourself a favor. Ask yourself, how does my higher self show up? Be that. Resonate at the good vibration. Then when the good emotions are coming in, milk that shit. Own it. Be extra grateful for it. And don't be surprised if some other beautiful blessings come real quick after that. And the last thing I want to say before I jump off this episode is that, man, we're just so powerful. You are an infinite being capable of anything you want. Don't let the ego or the mind or society or family or anyone ever tell you anything different. Because if we even have the slightest clue of how powerful we are, we'd never be stressed out. We'd never be worried because we know we have the energy that creates universes living inside of us. And we can do anything we want. So, go after your biggest dreams. Go do what lights you up. Go do what makes you feel good. Because, like I said, whatever you're feeling, your emotion is attracting your life. And that should be your number one priority. Feeling good should be a top priority for all of us. This doesn't mean to be confused with being lazy and I'm just gonna sit on the beach and do nothing and feel good and let my life go to shit. It's no, connect with your higher self. I guarantee your higher self, and if you really talk to your heart and your higher self doesn't just want to sit there and eat Cheetos and watch Netflix all day. It wants to go inspire and uplift people and make the world a better place. And that's what's going to really make you feel good. So go embody that, then you'll feel really good and you'll attract more things to feel good about. I love you. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you haven't yet, make sure to leave a 5-star review. That helps spread the good vibes and empower and uplift more people and grow the tribe. So if we get this tribe really cracking, we can have all sorts of events and masterminds and dope shit that we can all benefit from. So please do me the favor, if you got any value from this episode, please spread the word. If you're watching on YouTube, please drop a comment and let me know what's an insight or something that you picked up or appreciated about this episode, and maybe an action that you're going to take moving forward. And screenshot this and share it on your Instagram story. Hit me up on Instagram. I'm going hard on the stories, spreading good vibes on IG every day. Spreading good vibes on YouTube and Facebook. So make sure to follow me on all those platforms if you're not already, so we can further connect. And message me, I'm an open book. I mean, I'm not going to coach you for free through DM because I charge for coaching. But if you have a question or you just need someone to talk to or whatever, I'm here. I'm out there. So hit me up on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook or whatever. Or you can go to my website, burnellwashburn.com. It's 5:55 right now. What a perfect time to end this episode. I love you. Peace and blessings. Have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you on the next episode.